Hello, my name is Nicole, and thank you so much for taking the time out to listen. Today, I titled this message, The Self-Righteous, Competitive Spouse or Partner, because I know some of you all are in some interesting relationships, and you are with someone who is just exhibiting all sorts of prideful behavior, right? Her family is better than your family. He does a better job parenting than you do. He thinks he knows more than you do. She thinks that she is better at maintaining everything. One thinks that he or she is never wrong. Another is simply weary of the debates, the confrontations, the mean-spiritedness, the slamming of doors, the cursing, the mumbling negative words under one's breath, the getting on the phone, talking to relatives about that wife, husband, or partner. You may be guilty of it, but we're not going to talk about you and what you've done, because you're going to have to take some time out and confess your sin with the Lord and repent and all that good stuff. But today we are going to zero in on that one in the relationship who is giving the most grief. The one who refuses to admit that he or she is not as good, is not better than, has it going on, and more successful and knows more. Getting into a debate with a person like this, for some folks, they may argue until they're blue in the face and still no resolve. Others will just use silent treatment to death. There are individuals that just might turn their back and keep walking and never come back. And then you have those who simply say, okay, when the time is right, I'm going to end the relationship because I can't take much more of this. Aren't we supposed to be supportive of one another in relationships, right? Aren't we supposed to be kind, polite, for the most part? I mean, there's times where we can be strict and firm and difficult and so forth. Doesn't the Bible say that we're supposed to love one another? Well, what is this about being competitive and being jealous and not complimenting folks and, just being distant and acting ugly? This prideful, self-righteous spouse or partner, he or she will sooner or later be once again by his or herself. We don't enter into relationships to compete with one another. And usually the signs are there early on, but when you're dating, you don't pay attention to those signs. I know prior to my getting a divorce, I didn't pay attention to the signs. I admit, I really didn't. Is he being competitive? Sounds like it. I mean, he's talking a lot about how great his family is and put my family down in so many words. I mean, I know what goes on with my family. I mean, I really don't need him to take his family and put him up there on a pedestal while he knocks mine down. Is he saying that he is better at doing all these things with the children? Well, I mean, how can he say that when he's not even around long enough to parent them. And then when he is around, he's usually watching TV or, getting something to eat or sleeping. But the nerve of this individual to act this way. Oh, he's not responding when I tell him good news. He wants me to be very supportive when a lot of stuff is going on with him, good, bad, and otherwise. But when I talk to him, he's acting critical. He's fault finding, or he's just being quiet. Wow. Okay. Some of you all, you know what I'm talking about because you got somebody like that. Others, you don't have a clue what I'm talking about, and you shouldn't be listening to this message. Because if it's not that deep with your relationship, then this message isn't for you. And I'm not responsible for whatever might happen in the future because you've been listening to something that you had no business listening to. So if you have a decent relationship, you don't need to be listening to this. But for those who feel like they're battling, right? It's not love that's going on. It's a battle. Every time he or she opens up his or her mouth, there is something coming out, and it's a battle of sorts. It's not support. It's not love. It's not appreciation. It's not thankfulness. It's just negativity. Being mean-spirited, being competitive, being selfish, being self-righteous. I'm right, you're wrong. Whether it is a bold statement or it's subtle. You walk away feeling like, what just happened? I thought I was being nice. I thought I was, being polite, and I just wanted to start up a conversation. And now I feel like I just talked to somebody on the street. Somebody who could care less about me. Somebody who feels like they've got to tell me all of what is good about them and all of what is wrong about me. Who is this person? I didn't sign up for this. I can hear somebody saying it right now because they're so frustrated as they're listening. I didn't sign up for this kind of relationship. Lord, I told you a long time ago how I felt about this person. It's a wonder that we even got married or, we're living together or what have you. This is just sick to me. Okay? Jesus. So, what to do? I can also hear that in the spirit. What to do? I mean, Nicole, I'm in this relationship with this self-righteous, self-important, competitive, sometimes jealous, angry for no reason kind of person. To you, it's no reason. To them, it's always a reason. What to do? Go to Jesus and keep going to Jesus with that person's name on your lips. Oh, I will tell you from personal experience that all of that foolishness that they keep bringing to you, that's why they don't do so well on their jobs. That's why they don't do so well in their relationships with other folks. That's why people aren't necessarily drawn near to them in conversation and so forth, because they see the writing on the wall too. They know that that person is competitive and jealous and hard to deal with and controlling and irritating and miserable and whatever else. You see, you don't see their buddies spending as much time as they once did. That's usually a clear indication it's not you, it's them, right? It's not you, it's that person who can't seem to connect with folks because sooner or later he or she is found out. And then when they recognize that they're not having a good time connecting with folks and that they're putting on false fronts and so forth, and, they've just got their share of issues, guess what they're going to do in an argument? They're going to put some stuff on you and say, that's why you don't get along with this person or that one. And you tend to act this way and you tend to act that way. That's why you don't tell them everything about your personal life. Because as far as they're concerned, you got a huge support network. Even if you once told them a whole bunch of bad stuff about your family and your friends, you cut those conversations off as far as they know. Maybe it is still like that, but then maybe it's not. Maybe you have reconciled with some folks. Maybe you got a whole new network, but they don't have to know, he or she, that partner or spouse. They don't have to know what you got going on. I was told a long time ago, when you're in relationships, you're already giving a lot. You're giving a lot, your time, your energy, your money, and everything else. You don't have to give, some of the things that are closest to you. You don't have to share some of the people that's closest to you. A lot of those folks been there through a lot of your storms and will continue to be there long after that person is out of your life. So, no, you don't need to meet my best friend. Matter of fact, you don't even know my best friend or friends. You see? People give too much. The Lord showed me in the spirit. They give too much to relationships, and they make a partner a god in their lives rather than just a partner, just a spouse. I mean, I love you. I care about you. I'm going to be there for you. But then if you keep on with this foolishness and you want to be competitive and you want to be this jealous person and you don't want to treat me with some respect, and you're playing these little mental games every time you feel rejected or disappointed or don't like something I'm doing, and I've got to go. And I've got to do what makes me feel happy, possibly with someone else, you see. And that someone else, for those of you all who are believers, in the future, he or she, it's a requirement that that person you connect with is equally yoked, or otherwise you're going to have the same old foolishness. And I have an audio about unequally yoked partners, and that could be the reason why some relationships don't work out. I know that's what happened to me in the past. He told me where he stood when it came to God. Yes, I believe that there is this being. That was a red flag right there. I believe that there's something bigger than us. But relationship, I'm listening. I'm not hearing personal relationship. So you would have thought I had enough sense back then to get away from that person. But I didn't, because he was making himself available. He was right there in my face. He was taking me places and he was doing things for me. And God, who is invisible, right? God, who you can't touch. God, who was not physically putting something in my hand. My idea of God was not mature enough to truly understand, okay, maybe I shouldn't be opening up myself to this person like this. I mean, the devil can do nice things, right? The devil can be there for you. The devil can act encouraging at times. The devil can give you some money and some time, okay? But then there is the repayment that he or she is expecting later on. And if you are not willing to do all that they want you, he or she wants you to do, then that's going to be another thing that a partner or spouse brings up to you. After all I did for you, and then you can't even do this for me. Well, that thing that you want me to do, I don't agree with it. And I rather let me reach a compromise with you on this. How about suggestion 1, suggestion 2, suggestion 3? I don't want to do that. Listen, just do what I ask. I mean, I feel like you don't love me. I love you more. I do for you more. That's your weakness. You don't know how to love. You don't know how to treat anyone. And you do. So, those of you all, once again, in relationships like this, you are going to the Lord. You're speaking about the things that are bringing you down as they arise, making the time for the Lord to talk about these things. The next thing you're going to want to do is make necessary arrangements to do some things on your own. Part of the reason why some of these people can even twist their mouths to say that they're better, that they know more, that, my family's better than yours, because you spend too much time talking to them, spend too much time doing what they want, spend too much time bringing them to your events and so forth. And every time you do that with these self-righteous, competitive folks, they collect information. And then when they collect that information, they use it against you later. So don't allow this person to be a part of so much that's going on with you. And then when things are good, stay with the positive in the conversations rather than the negative. Because once again, you see a self-righteous person, they're looking for all of the negative so that they can turn around and tell you what you're doing wrong, even though you didn't ask. Okay? So stick to the positive. I had a great day visiting my mother. It was nice at work. We got some work accomplished. Be brief too. Don't be providing so much explanation, so many details. Keep it simple. And don't report. This is something that I've had to learn over the years, just in general, with talking to folks. And you don't know whether they're negative or, pessimistic, positive. You just don't know because you're still getting to know them. Well, in a relationship, being that you know this person already, you just want to be very, and even the Bible tells us that we need to watch our tongue, be very particular about what you're saying and what you're doing around people that you know full well have opened up conversation, to just get you to do something that they want, right? So they're going to pull you in somehow, some way. And you've got to be more detailed, not with them, but more detailed in terms of being discerning. Where is this conversation going? What is this person up to? How can I be able to rise above this situation? Are there some alternatives to, being free from some of the things that they want me to do, or, how they put themselves on a pedestal, for instance? Making sure that you're not saying or doing anything that is keeping them up there. You see what I mean? Sometimes we can give so much information. We report to them as if they're a boss, right? Somebody very important. We go to them as if they are, the ruler, the king. Okay. When you do that sort of thing, you empower that person in a way where they feel like I am important. They already have a self-important air about them. But then when you go and you give them a breakdown, a detail, a report, an update on everything that's going on. And of course, they're not giving you too much of anything, right? Just like what bosses, managers, supervisors, business owners do. They want to get a lot of feedback from you, but they're not giving you too much, right? You've got to learn how to shut that down with some of these self-righteous, prideful types of people, your partner, your spouse. You don't need to report everything. If it's already been taken care of, let them sometimes come to you and ask you, so, what's going on with such and such? And then they might even have a little bit of an attitude. How come you didn't tell me? I mean, you could have let me know about this, that, and the other, right? If it's not something that is important to let them know about, you don't have to go out of your way to do it. You see, because you've got to condition them in a way that knocks them off their totem pole, so to speak. You're not being mean and ugly with it, but what you are doing is you are not being that one that is elevating them in such a way where they've got power and control over you. Okay? If I keep going to you, let's say that you and I are in some kind of relationship, okay, whether it's business, whether it's an intimate relationship, whatever. And I keep coming to you and I keep telling you every little thing that's going on, in our household. I'm telling you about what's going on with your family, my family, our mutual friends. I'm reporting to you about things that took place with the children. I'm just giving you all this information, right? And then the next day I do the same thing. And then the next. After a while, right, you're going to sit back and you're going to expect me to keep coming to you. So I'm reporting to you, like I said, like a manager or a boss or supervisor or what have you. And so you are going to look at that as one of two things, depending on your personality, though. You may look at it as, I really like this person, man. You keeping me on top of things. Yes, right? But if you got a personality disorder of some sort, and let's say that I stop telling you some things, I kind of take a break, you're going to come with the attitude. You used to come over here and tell me about this and that and all of these things. Oh, so you don't want to tell me? Huh? I mean, really? I mean, what? I'm your wife. I'm your husband. You're supposed to tell me. You see? So you get an idea of what kind of personality you're dealing with by the way people behave, the way they respond to the information that you give them. That self-righteous, right? Competitive, jealous partner is not going to look at just a simple conversation as just that. He or she's going to read into everything and look for a reason to fault find, look for a reason to make you miserable. But you are not put on this planet to be anybody's verbal or physical punching bag. You are not put on this planet to be in a relationship that is fruitless and miserable and all of these other things. An individual commented on one of my videos dealing with abuse, emotional and physical abuse in relationships. And this person had the nerve to say, well, what about the vows? Until death do us part, and some other stuff, okay, outdated stuff. Some stuff rooted in some power and control types of language as far as I'm concerned. Death do us part. It may sound romantic, but when you've been in an emotionally abusive relationship or you've experienced physical abuse, no, there is no until death do us part. And he had the nerve to throw in the Bible right along with it. No, God hates divorce, but one thing about it, God doesn't want any of us being in any type of situation with anyone. I don't care how many vows you took, where you could potentially lose your life, where you could possibly end up hurting that person. No, I think it's better that we divorce than until death do us part, because I don't want to be the one with blood on my hands. You see, people whose relationships are doing well, people who feel good about their decisions, in life and so forth, they don't see, the cons to too much of anything. Yeah, it's nice to be optimistic and positive, when there's hope, when there's a future, when you know that you can be able to rebound out of something, when you and your partner are seeing eye to eye and working together. It's a beautiful thing. But when things take an ugly turn and people are cheating and lying and conniving and being prideful and, doing all sorts of negative things to keep people upset, depressed. They refuse to change. What? We supposed to stay in that? And then our children are supposed to watch all of that and then mimic our behaviors? So I don't serve that kind of God. Okay? And those of you all who have listened to me for quite some time, you know it's about setting the captives free. I think about Pharaoh and how he did all those things to try to keep from letting those slaves go. Moses went to him, Aaron, and he just didn't want to change. So what? The Israelites were supposed to ignore Moses and Aaron and stick it out with Pharaoh, continue to be beat and starved and everything else? Come on. No. We are not going to fall for the foolishness that Satan puts upon us, no matter how nice it sounds. If you are in a bad relationship, I'm talking about really bad, the kind that there is no hope, you already know what you're supposed to do. There are domestic violence counselors that are available. Contact the organization that is local. And also, if you have to go to law enforcement and file a report, you do that. And if you need to file a restraining order, you do that as well. For some of you all who have been contemplating on divorce because it's just that bad, of course you pray, and then you allow the Lord to lead you to a good attorney. And if you are not that far gone yet, you just might need to save your money. Maybe you're not ready for a divorce, but you're ready for a separation, and you know it's going to cost money to get your own place, to, buy certain things for your new house or new apartment. So it's going to take some time. But just understand that God, this God that I speak of, Yahweh, whose son died on the cross for our sins, who left behind the Holy Spirit, he is not one for keeping you in bondage of any sort. So talk over the issues with a partner before you do anything rash. Explain to him or her that you would like some support mentally and or physically. And if you start to see some change, continue to encourage that partner. Thank you for not bringing up your family every time I'm talking about my family. Thank you for not being difficult when I'm telling you different things that's happening to me. Thank you for refraining from telling me all this great, wonderful, and happy stuff that's going on with you while making me feel like I'm a bad person. I'm glad that, this sort of stuff is not taking place. I just need somebody who is kind, considerate, loving, respectful, the things that I married you for. Okay? So to God be the glory. Thank you as always for listening. Check the description box for anything that might be of interest. You've been listening to YouTube NM Enterprise 7. Please subscribe if you haven't already. And if you haven't given, we do welcome donations. To God be the glory.